I'll wait for y'all to stop strolling and pay attention. This right here, ladies and gentlemen, is Lulu White. She was one of the most successful madams. And what is a madam? A female pimp. While little is known about her early life, it is said that she was born somewhere in 1868. Could have been 20 years before, could have been 20 years after. We don't know, but she was born in Salem, Alabama. She first appeared in New Orleans City Directory in 1888, and she lived in a boarding house slash brothel. And a brothel is a place where people buy and sell freaky deaky activities. She kickstarted her career by selling booty meat and pictures of her booty meat and other assets. The city said, "All right, this thing got out of hand. We're not gonna have these girls turning tricks all up through the city, one area." In 1897, prostitution was limited to the Treme area of the city, which later was nicknamed Storyville after Sidney Story, the person who tried to regulate prostitution in the city. So they just went ahead and named it after him. Sidney Story was actually quite pissed when he found out that they had named that area after him. She had made so much money from her profession that she was able to start her own establishment. She spent a whopping $40,000 building a lavish, luxurious brothel at 235 Basin Street in New Orleans, Louisiana. $40,000 back then is equivalent to about $1.4 million today. Baby Titi was getting to some paper. This mansion was 4 stories, and it had Tiffany stained glass. One of the parlors had mirrored floors and ceilings, and she started out with 40 exotic prostitutes. All of Lulu's girls were advertised in the Little Blue Book, and you could purchase this book for 25 cents back then, which is equivalent to $8.90 today, which is, I guess, not that bad. And let me tell y'all what made these girls so exotic. They had 1 drop of black in them. They were considered 7 parts white and 1 part black, commonly known as octoroons. Lulu was so slick. When she ran out of biracial women, she just sold straight up white women. She said these filthy animals not gonna know the difference. Like I said, you had to be a big time in the experience of fantasies in Mahogany Hall. While the average brothel was only receiving about 50 cents per experience, baby, Lulu could get up to $100 per experience. And today, that is $3,200. Baby, if them walls could talk in Mahogany Hall. Mahogany Hall had 15 bedrooms that all had their own private bathrooms, 5 parlors, and even an elevator. Now, back then, they did have a lot of brothels, but Mahogany Hall was the most lavish and luxurious. And fantasies wasn't the only thing that Miss Lulu was slinking in Mahogany Hall. She sold alcohol, pain medicine, and remedies to cure common STDs. Tita was very flashy. She wore rings on every finger. She had so much jewelry, lace, the finest clothes, furs. Baby, she was in Gucci and gold. Mahogany Hall was also a jazz venue. Baby, Lulu had Storyville on lock. So then business was booming. So she decided to expand, and she opened up a saloon right across the street from Mahogany Hall that played jazz, had a bar in it, sold alcohol and all kind of other stuff, cigarettes, cigars, all kind of vices. Lulu was no stranger to the law. She got arrested so much to a point where the sheriff used to let her ride her horse and carriage to the jailhouse. Lulu was just a straight up gangster. Her criminal record included things like stabbing with an intent to unalive, aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, baby, petty theft. Lulu, she didn't care. Lulu said, "This life chose me." Baby, Lulu was rolling. So much so that she decided that she wanted to go out to Cali and expand and invest in the filmmaking business. And she came across this man who had acted like he wanted to be her agent and really help her. And he ended up finessing her and ran off with her money. And well, that was the end of that. In 1917, troops came down to New Orleans and based during the Civil War. The Secretary of War decided that, that booty house is distracting my troops. Shut it down. Prostitution had to go back underground, and consequently, Mahogany Hall's business declined. To make matters worse, they prohibited alcohol. And when they did, Lulu said, "Baby, y'all better ask about me. I'm a hustler." She started making her some whiskey and soda. Lulu was now being arrested for bootlegging alcohol and still running her prostitution business. In 1929, she ended up having to sell Mahogany Hall for $11,000, which was a fraction of the cost that it took to build it, especially with inflation. And the department store owner that purchased it used it for storage. In her later life, she received a presidential pardon from President Woodrow Wilson, and she was actually the first black woman to receive a pardon. This lady was so influential and legendary that in 2016, Beyonce paid tribute to her in her video Formation. How convenient is it that they forget to tell us about the black women that were getting to some paper back then?